Let's give them one more. Giving to others and putting yourself out there when it's easier to be out with your friends or going to the movies and doing things like that. Spending weekends in service is something that they've got right coming to Banner Elk. But I have to tell you, I'm glad the Woolly Worm Festival is only once a year. And I'll tell you why. If I had to eat those, I know a lot of you are probably thinking the same thing, right? If they had those donuts every single week or every single month, I don't think it worked. I was appointed by the executive committee of the GOP on Monday of Avery, Mitchell, and McDowell County. That's my 3 counties. So I was appointed on Monday. We drove down on Tuesday. The Speaker of the House swore me in on Wednesday, and we were voting on unemployment insurance on Thursday. So the more I learn about unemployment insurance reform, the more convinced I am that it was tough. It was not easy. But the more convinced I am that it was the right thing to do. There was another issue that we tackled this time. First time in a long time we were able to tackle tax reform and get some things done. Gives North Carolina a new flat rate of 5.8 in 2014 and 5.75 in 2015. Gives us a lower income tax rate than every other state around us except for Virginia. To me, that wasn't the argument. To me, it was something that we needed to do because it was the right thing to do. And what I mean by that, if someone pays taxes their whole life, plays by the rules, does what they're supposed to do, leaves a little something for their family, I don't believe it's the government's place to come in and take half of that. We lowered the rates, made us more competitive across the board, but for our rural hospitals with not-for-profits, when they're not-for-profit, they don't have to pay sales tax. Some wanted to change that. We wanted to keep that proposal as it was, so our not-for-profits are protected. And that's not just our rural hospitals. That is our YMCAs. That's all local nonprofits would have been affected if some would have had their way. And the governor wanted to make a track for someone who wanted to go into carpentry, or someone who wanted to go into construction, or someone who wanted to go into a trade field, to make it easier for them when they leave high school to have it on their diploma to say this person is certified in carpentry or whatever field. So on day one, if they didn't want to go to college, they could be ready for the workforce. That was one of the first things that we passed. I thought that was a good thing. I encourage everyone to go to college. I'm going to encourage my daughter to go to college, but it's not for everybody. And this gives those another alternative. So I was proud to say, where are you going to be able to carry a weapon if you so choose, where you wasn't able to before? And to me, that's what it came down to. It came down to freedom, came down to expanding freedom, and we did pass some sweeping gun right legislation that was pro-Second Amendment that I was proud to support as well. And again, I just tell it like it is. And if it's like, that's great. If not, that's okay too. But I was one of 10 Republicans that voted against the budget. Down to 2 issues, but I'll focus on one, and that's education. Three reasons in particular. Teachers' assistants, the cuts of 19% the first year, 21% the second year. Now, you can talk about moving numbers around and playing accounting games, but the fact is we had a 19% cut the first year and a 21% cut the second year to teachers' assistants. How we do something, to me, is as important as what we do. And what I mean by that is when you're going to change major education policy in the state of North Carolina, in my opinion, it should not be in the budget. It should be a separate bill that's fully vetted in the House and fully vetted in the Senate. And if it makes it through committee, makes it through the House, makes it through the Senate, and then voted on by signed by the governor, then it's the law of the land. But when you're changing major policy in the state, something as important as tenure reform, I don't think it should be part of the budget. And we're behind the rest of the state economically. We have a higher unemployment rate, and we're just challenged just by the nature of where we live. It's just a challenging time. So we need to focus on what we've got that's good. And what we've got that's good is public education. And it's working for these young folks here. They're going to go on to great things, I have no doubt. It worked for me, it worked for my wife, it's working for my daughter. So we need to do everything we can to protect public education in rural western North Carolina, particularly in Avery County. And as long as I'm there, I'm going to do that. And I've never understood the reasons why you can't be pro-gun and pro-education too. But that's what I'm going to try to be. So I was able to speak on that, how North Carolina lost their Bill of Rights, how it went to Pennsylvania and ended up in some guys. I wish I had my speech on that, my notes. on that. That was one of the very first things we did. Luckily, we did get North Carolina's copy of the Bill of Rights back. It was signed by the Founding Fathers, and it's in Raleigh right now. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, John.
I was able to speak to the Kiwanis Club of Banner Elk today and talked a little bit about what we accomplished this session, from tax reform to voter ID to a lot of different issues, but focused primarily on education issues and some things that we did good, some things we need to improve when we go back. And I'm looking forward to going back to the short session, and I think we're going to accomplish a lot of great things.
And I am pleased to let Josh know and you know that the Kiwanis Club of Banner Elk also supports education. We don't just talk about it, but in the last 3 years, 2/3 of our grants have gone to support education in Avery County. Has gone on a long, long list, from the Avery County schools to Reading is Fundamental, to Hobie scholarships, to high school scholarships, to college scholarships, Smart Start, Apples for Teachers, Key Club, the list is on and on. So, Kiwanis Club of Banner Elk joins our state government with this representative to support education in Avery County.